I'm going to take you through a little calculator I have, and I'm going to show you the absolute slowest, most boring way you can crush traditional retirement planning and really build some wealth in real estate. Okay, so are you familiar with the 4% rule? So the 4% rule says however much money you need in retirement, you need to get 25 times that amount of savings, accumulate that amount of assets. So let's go through those numbers. Most people say in retirement they want $10,000. Now, what most people don't understand is most retirement plans are tax deferred, so they're going to still be paying about a 35% tax rate. So when they say they want 10 grand for retirement, what they really mean is they want 15 grand a month when they're not working. 15 times 12 is 184,000. So then the 4% rule says, hey, if you want 184K a year, you need to accumulate 25 times that amount of assets. So that number is 4.6 million. So everybody in America trying to retire is trying to accumulate at least $4.6 million worth of assets. And now most traditional financial planners are going to say, hey, you're basically going to need to contribute to your retirement plans until you can get $4.6 million. Like, it's not an easy lift. By my math, that means you got to contribute 60 grand a year for 30 years to get to 4.6. So if I could show you a way to get to 4.6 with a third of the amount of capital and in a third amount of the time, would that be compelling to you? All right, so I'm just a dumb real estate guy. Me personally, if I want $10,000 in retirement, I am just going to buy 10 houses and pay them off. Now, whether I pay them off in 10,000 or 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, that would be up to my discretion. But the simplest, most based, not being creative at all, is just buy 10 houses, pay them off, boom, you're going to be great. You're going to have $10,000 in retirement. What I'm trying to do is set people up with $10,000 a month in 10 years, plus destroying the 4% rule and getting their 4.6 million in assets. The 30-year fixed mortgage is the safest debt instrument on earth. And so most people don't know this, but if you're married, you can get up to 20 of these 30-year fixed mortgages. Simple math, you divide 4.6 divided by 20, that means you got to have 20 rentals worth $230,000, right? And then here's the magic. If you're going to buy 20 houses this year, do you have any idea how much that house would be worth, or what that house needs to be worth? So if you assume 5% appreciation, you would need to start buying $140,000 houses this year. And so a 20% down payment on a $140,000 house, that you would need $28,000 down payments, or $566K this year. If you gave me that amount of money, I'd get you 20 rentals. 10 years from now, you would destroy the 4% rule, right? The fastest way to do this is 20 houses in 1 year. The slowest, most boring way is 2 houses a year for 10 years. And so what I love to do is walk people through those numbers, what that's going to require. Okay, so here's this little spreadsheet I built out, and I've done another YouTube video just showing the numbers of what happens if you bought 20 houses in 1 year. You get to the $4.6 million target everybody's getting, plus you get a ton of cash flow, a ton of equity. Here's what I'm going to do. This is the performance of the houses. If you bought 2 houses in year 1, then same thing. Year 2, I just did the same chart, except I followed up each year your houses that you're buying, because the prices of the houses are going to go up with inflation. Each year you're buying more expensive houses, so you're going to have more expensive down payments each and every year. So year 2, instead of buying a $140,000 house, you're buying a $148,000 house. Year 3, you're buying a $156,000 house. And so I get the cumulative return for everything in year 10. So you check it out. Here's how it goes. Year 1, you'll buy 2 houses for 150, 140. Your portfolio value will be close to 300. You'll get 14K in appreciation. You'll have a total 4-pillar return: appreciation, cash flow, equity pay down, appreciation, cash flow, equity pay down, and tax advantages, a total return of $26,000. And you should get cash flow of $6,000 that year. And so not that exciting. Year 2, you do the same thing. Now your portfolio is up to $624. You've gotten close to $40,000 in appreciation. Your total return is close to $80,000. It doesn't really start getting exciting to year 4. Now you're at 1.3 million. You're starting to see some appreciation. Total appreciation at this point has been $156,000. You're starting to get 30 grand in cash flow, and then you can see 2 more each year till by year 10 you're at $4.6 million. So let me total up the entire return at this point. So destroy the 4% rule. You'll buy 2 houses a year for 10 years. At the end of 10 years, you'll have 20 houses worth $230K. And so your total down payments, because remember, your total down payments is around $566 if you do all 20 in 1 year. But you're going to be buying more expensive houses each of the 2 years. So your total down payments is going to be around $700,000. And now at the end of that 10 years, here's going to be the return. Your portfolio value will be $4.6 million. So you've kept up with everybody chasing the 4% rule. You've experienced $1 million in appreciation. I don't know any other investment vehicle out there where you're making just straight up appreciation, $1 million. Your equity pay down, the tenant's going to pay the properties down another $215. You're going to save close to $200K in taxes. And then your year 10 cash flow. I also run these models that you don't take a dollar of cash flow for the first 9 years. Then year 10, you're going to have $140,000 in cash flow, and then boom, there is your 10 grand a month. But most importantly, you could refinance or do a line of credit on these houses and pull $950,000. So you're destroyed the 4% rule. You're able to retire because you got $140K a month. Sorry, you have $140K a year in cash flow, which divided by 12 is a little over 10 grand. But you also have $1 million in equity to play with. Your wealth has grown by over $1 million. And so your 4-pillar return, I call that the 4 ways you win in real estate, is $1.6 million. So you spend $700K to make a total of 1.6. So a 200% return, 10 years, plus you get everything you possibly could have wanted with traditional financial planning. Now, a lot of people are like, Jimmy, I don't know if I could get $712,000. And so, cool, no problem. There's a thing called equity milling. As you see, your houses are going to continue to appreciate each and every year. And because you can use leverage with real estate, you're going to be able to do a concept, what I call equity milling. But essentially, if you are nervous or you don't feel great about the fact that you can find $700K for your down payments, no problem. All you're going to need to do, I can show you a way that all you're going to need is $250,000. So same assumptions, same charts in this scenario, except in this scenario, all you're doing is you're allowing the houses to appreciate and the tenants to pay the mortgage down, and you're taking the equity that you gain, you're doing lines of credit, and then you're just using lines of credit from the assets you already own, and you're using that for the down payment. So here's how this would work. From the last scenario and this scenario, year 1, completely the same. Buy 2 houses, you're gonna need, You're gonna need a total of $60,000 for your down payments. Year 2, this year you're gonna need $62,000 for total down payments. Year 3, you buy 2 more, but check it out. You've experienced 90 grand in appreciation, and the tenant has paid it down another 20 grand. So you could possibly pull close to $70,000 from a line of credit. And then look at the next number. Next number for your next 2 houses, you need $65,000 for down payment. No problem. You take that line of credit and you use that for your down payments for that year. So year 3, none of your own cash is going to your portfolio, but what do you have? You have 2 more units. Now you're up to 6 assets. Now year 4, you're going to need another 70 grand for 2 more assets. But now here's where it starts to get fun. Year 5, and this is where people start really enjoying owning a rental portfolio. But year 5, let's see, you've experienced close to $250,000 worth of appreciation. You've had the tenants pay it down. You pay your mortgages down $50,000. So your total equity gain is $250K. You have a potential to pull from your line of credit $127,000. That's including after you already pulled $65K in year 3. So total equity gain of 256. Now you've recharged your equity mill that you have $127,000. So you pull 72 and you buy 2 more houses. Let's check out year 6. Year 6, things start to get very interesting. So now you're up to 10 units. You got 350K in appreciation. You could pull possibly another 145K. So you get crazy in year 6 and you buy 3. Your down payments are now 113. You buy 3 units. Year 7, same thing. You got enough equity left to buy another 3. And then year 8 is where things get super crazy. The down payments you would need to buy 4 of these houses, 167K. And so boom, you have 211 available from your HELOC. You buy 4 more houses with 167K, and you're there. You're at your 4.6. You've just destroyed the 4% rule. Now check it out. Years 9 and 10, you don't buy anything. No more of your own money. Now most people, they have so much fun with this. They see success, they keep buying. But your equity mill recharges in those next 2 years so that you could pull another $355,000 out of there. So let's sum up those numbers. So in 10 years, there's what you got. Once again, you got 4.6 million. You've destroyed the 4% rule. Your portfolio is appreciated $1 million. You've had 250, the tenants pay the equity down, $215,000. You saved close to 200K in taxes. Now, predicting your cash flow in that year, because you are paying interest on those down payments, I can't model out your cash flow, but it's going to be similar to the last model. It's going to be probably close to $10,000 because you also have another 300 grand that you could pull from equity. So in 10 years, your total return's $1.4 million. You have 20 assets that, guess what? With the 4% rule, if you shut it down and stop working, really your portfolio stops working for you. With real estate, year 11, no problem. Just keep doing what you're doing. The houses continue to appreciate, you continue to gain equity, and you continue to gain cash flow. So your total return in year 10 would be 1.4 million. That's a 400% return when you only have 250K of your own money into it. You might be saying, let me see the assumptions that you ran these numbers with. So here are the assumptions. I did a 4.99% interest rate because people in our community are always getting 2 points lower than what the market rate is. So the last rate block I did, our buyers got, even though the market rate's 7%, my buyers got 4.99 because I can do a rate buy down because we do so much volume. And the second critical assumption is a 5% annual appreciation on all these units. So you got to ask yourself, are these safe assumptions? This is recent history. This is since 2015. And then this is a pundit on CNBC who's always talking smack about real estate. But let's say you were bearish and listened to this CNBC pundit, supposedly an expert. And what we remember, we're trying to say is 5% appreciation, a safe assumption. Well, 2015, the median home price in the United States was 400K. So 2015 goes up 5%. Now it's 420. And you'll notice there's still a headline saying, uh-oh, real estate's going to crash. So 2016, we're in a new housing bubble. What happens in 17? Still, another 5%. Home ownership doesn't build wealth. But it went up 6%. Now what's being said in 18? It's better to rent to buy in today's housing market. Probably not, because the house just went up 5%. Maybe 4 consecutive years, she'd be a little less bullish. So 2019, the headline, the housing market's about to shift in bad ways for buyers. Not really. Another 4%. So December 19, next year will be hard on the housing market, especially in big cities. We all remember what happened. COVID happened. The housing market went nuts. It went up 10%. Even that did not convince her. Even in July 2021, housing boom is over for new home sales fall to pandemic low. Not really. They went up another 20%. And then in March of 2022, the housing market's increasing big trouble. And it's still appreciated 6% nationally. Can you imagine if you bought 20 houses in 2015? I can, because I did that. And look, you would 300K times 20, you'd have a $3 million gain. Strictly from 5% from appreciation. So let's look at, that's recent history, is 5% is 5% reasonable. This is 70 years worth of data. And be honest with you, there's been 6 years where housing did not increase in value. That's amazing. That's why you never bet against the champ. And so what I did is I took that data, the average increase for the last 70 years, and I said, hey, if you take the increase of the last 70 years and average it out, that yes, the average home price in the United States does appreciate 5%. You got 70 years of data backing that up. I've seen the data this way, but a house doubles in price every 20 years. That's including between 2000 and 2020 is housing still double. So I would say, yeah, 5% appreciation is a safe assumption.